Greetings from Norfolk, Massachusetts on a Friday evening. Stock market pretty much flat today, just up 35 points. A lot of other stuff going on. Still no deal on a stimulus. Right here, a Washington Post, it says recession is over for the rich, but for the working class, it's far from recovered. It's not recovered, folks. Look at this. Rental startup, Rent the Runway. They rent ballroom gowns and fancy dresses for weddings and for proms and for, black tie events that you don't want to go out and, spend money on a gown. You just want to rent it for the evening. They had 6 locations across the country. All of them are closing. No one is going out. There are no gowns or black tie events to be found anywhere. I mean, people barely leave their houses. They go to the supermarket. I guess supermarket and online sales have increased, but, entertainment, travel, events, movies, restaurants, down. Long time. It's going to take a long time to recover. And I feel sorry for these people that are in that industry. I mean, travel is just obliterated everywhere. I mean, Las Vegas is down huge amounts of money. I have a school that I founded in Tanzania. Part of my heart is there. It's going to take a long time for the safari industry. It's going to take a long time for the safari industry to recover. People just aren't going anywhere. But that pesky plane flying above me is just a little prop plane. All right, so events, restaurants, retail, travel, down. It's going to take a really long time to recover, and I feel sorry. I mean, these are people's livelihoods. These are people's careers. I mean, they're going to have no money for rent. They're going to have, I don't know what's going to happen to these people. I mean, even if it's all events, from wedding venues to fairgrounds to festivals to concerts. I mean, it employs thousands of people all across the country. I mean, this summer, even sporting events. I mean, there's no baseball, there's no hockey, there's no basketball. I mean, they're playing, but there's no fans in the stadium, and there's going to be no fans in the NFL either. Steinmart, a store, big department store across the country, 279 locations, all closing. Another one bites the dust. It joins the ranks of JCPenney and Neiman Marcus, and I think it was 6,000 other businesses that have since filed for bankruptcy since middle of March, and when this whole thing started. Well, with all these job losses and not a lot to recovery, thousands of cars line up at Texas Food Bank. Thousands of cars for miles. I mean, the outbreak in Texas is bad. They're not really curbing it. I don't know. But thousands of cars. The need is great, folks. People have no jobs. Except, of course, if you're a billionaire or a millionaire. I mean, millionaires are, I guess, being created every day due to this stock market, which is totally not connected to the economy. The economy is jobs. The economy is spending. The economy is not the stock market. It is not the stock market. And speaking of, people hurting and not a lot of jobs, what happens when there's not a lot of jobs and the economy's tanking? It says COVID-related donations are soaring, but other donations and other nonprofits are suffering. And there you go. I have a school in Tanzania. I run a nonprofit here. I can tell you firsthand, donations have halted. Tomorrow I'm having an event in my backyard and hoping to raise a couple of $100, but what's a couple of $100? A couple of $100 doesn't cut it. I mean, in Tanzania, they're acting as though, the world is going on normal and schools reopened, and, our work, or our support from here has halted because the world has halted and the economy has stopped. So, yep, it says Charities are seeing a big hit to donations. All right, personal income in June says was up 4 to 5% from February, but that also has to do with the stimulus checks that were going out, because June all unemployed people were getting the $600 bonus. Restaurant, bars, clothing stores are far away from recovered. Just, clothing, people aren't buying because they're not going anywhere. I mean, a pair of sweats is all they need right now. There is going to be lingering pain. Restaurants ran on really thin margins to begin with. I knew someone who had a hamburger joint. They didn't survive. But, restaurants, their margins are really thin. After the cost of staffing and, food and refrigeration and high rents and all that stuff, it's hard to make a profit. I was reading another article that said 1 out of every 3 restaurants in Manhattan is not going to make it. And I guess that there's a mass exodus out of New York City of rich people or wealthy people. Wealthy people pay a lot of taxes in New York. That's how New York City survives. A lot of chain stores, CVS's, Walgreens, other stores, they can't stay in Manhattan either. A lot of protests, a lot of riots. I think there were 1,000 shootings or something, and homicides are up way big in New York City. I mean, I have a special place in New York. I'm from New York. I hate to see that happen. I mean, it's a beautiful place, but if you go along 24th Street, I mean, the homeless have taken up the street now. Okay, so how many more people are going to lose their jobs? All these restaurants closing. All these chain stores are going to close in big cities, because we were in Manhattan yesterday. I mean, I was in Boston yesterday, and you can see that you just can't survive. It's just not a survivable thing. And now they say, I guess Robert Redfield from the CDC says he's expecting a fall and winter that is way worse than the summer ever was. I mean, schools are starting up again. People have nowhere, even teachers now, if you are a teacher, you have to teach remotely from your school. If you're going remote, you have to be there. A lot of teachers have kids, and their kids are at home, and they have to go back to the classroom. And what's going to happen to all these students? They're going to be homeschooling by themselves at 3rd grade, 6th grade, 8th grade, 1st grade, kindergarten. Like, what are they thinking? I mean, if you're going to teach at home and kids are going to be home, teachers have to be home. They have to be able to teach from home so they can stay with their kids who are learning from home. You just can't open things up and have nowhere for all these kids to go. I mean, a lot of offices are still closed, and a lot of people, I think it said 65% of people, are still working from home, like offices, and some of them are working from home now until, next March. They've already decided, no, you're not coming back. And those parents are, I guess, in a better shape, but, there has to be some kind of national referendum here, because opening, closing, hybrid, in-person, remote, it's just a hogwash of crap that it's just not manageable as a parent. I don't know. You have to see deeper than reality. You have to really understand what's going on in this country, because we're heading for some place that we've never been before. I mean, in all honesty, it's going to get ugly. And just look at the riots, and look at the looting, and look at all these other cities. And it's coming to a place near you soon. If you just prepare yourself, have food in case you can't leave your house. Have, money, have some assets, have something. stay close with friends and family. All right, well, I'm going to take a break this weekend. I think tomorrow I'm having a fundraiser in my backyard. I'm going to be busy setting up and getting organized for that. Let's pray that it's successful and many people come. We're all going to be wearing masks and social distancing and listening to some really good music. And just pray for America. Have a good day.